Hello and welcome to Introduction to Philosophy. In this short little video, what I'll try to do is explain how the course works, talk a bit about the syllabus, make it really clear how grades are determined, what your week-to-week assignments are going to kind of look like. First of all, my name is Jeremy Ball. I'm a professor at the College of San Mateo. I've been teaching there about 17, 18 years now. It's been a while. There are various ways we could do an introductory to philosophy course. One way to do it is where we try to cover a little bit of everything, right? We try to do all of philosophy in 17 weeks, and I don't think that really sounds very reasonable. Another way we could do a course like this is we could do a history of ideas course, where we memorize the important people, what days they were alive, some of the important things that they said in Latin. That too, I don't know how useful that is. A third way to do it, and the way we're going to do it, is where we try to narrow it down to a few particular topics and then focus in on some particular readings and try to make sense of those topics and those readings. So we'll actually divide the class up into 4 distinct parts, right? So it'll, the first section will deal with issues around knowledge and where knowledge comes from, and what would be the conditions under which we could say that we know something. From there, we'll go into the issue of free will versus determinism. It's a good issue because there's a lot writing on it, right? If people aren't free, then they can't be held morally responsible. And if they're not morally responsible for their actions, then it looks like our whole judicial system is way off base. Ethical theory sort of presupposes that people have free will. So that, I think, ends up being a pretty rich, engaging topic. Third, we'll take a look at the relationship between the mind and the brain. What the mind ends up being has huge consequences for how we view ourselves. So one of the primary tenets, for example, of almost every major religion is that there is a part of you, your mental part, your soul part, that's capable of sort of surviving the death of your body. Right, but at the exact same time, we're learning enough about neuroscience right now that it really looks like, in some ways, brains, or something like brains cause minds, right? But if brains cause minds, we know, of course, one day brains will die, and if that's the thing that produces you, well, you see the point. There's a whole lot going on with this issue. And in particular, we'll follow that issue into the question about whether or not computers or robots can think, so that should be pretty cool. And then last but not least, we'll take a look at some of the classical arguments for and against God's existence. Most, I think, introductory courses deal with that topic first. In our class, we'll deal with it last. So the first thing that you'll need to do is go ahead and read the syllabus, because I'll give you the quick outline here, but all the actual due dates, how much assignments are worth, everything's in there. First thing you'll need to do after you read the syllabus is buy the textbook. It looks like this. It's called Reason and Responsibility by Joel Feinberg. Make sure you get the 15th edition. It's available in our college bookstore. They have an online order format that you can go through there. It's also available on Amazon, Chegg, all the normal outlets. But get a hold of it, and get a hold of it ASAP. Right, because you're going to have assignments from the beginning. So it's not an option. Got to get the thing, and do what you can to get it. This year, you guys are kind of guinea pigs in 2 ways. The first is that I'm radically redoing the online philosophy course. So if you've taken the class before, it's really different. And also the texts are the one I just suggested. They aren't the video series with the Velasquez text. So if you got that, unfortunately, you got the wrong text. You need to get Reason and Responsibility. The ISBN and all the order information for it is on the course syllabus on Canvas. The other thing that we're going to be doing new is using Canvas, right? So the class has been formatted for Canvas. At our college, we've been using a different system called Web Access. So that'll take us a little bit getting used to. The way the assignments will go is we'll have 3 main things that you end up getting graded for. The first is after you do the readings out of the text, and again they're assigned on Canvas, let you know when they're due, right? What we'll have is a quick little reading quiz. Reading quizzes will be up to 10 questions, and regardless on whether you have 10 or less, I'll give you 30 minutes to take the quizzes. The quizzes you'll only be able to take one time, so make sure you've got plenty of time when you log in that you've done the reading. I don't want to have to redo quizzes, right, because the minute a quiz closes, all the grades and all the answers become public. So we're just going to go hard on this one. No makeups on missed quizzes. You got to take them within the time period that they're all open. The quizzes will always be open from Thursday in the morning. I think that opens like at midnight or something, through Saturday at noon. Indeed, to keep things simple, everything in the class will always be due at Saturday at noon of the week that it's due. That doesn't mean I want you to wait till Saturday to do it, but that's the drop dead date, right? And again, no makeups on things because you have a window in order to get it done. So my suggestion would be get that stuff in there early so it's no big deal. And again, all the assignments and the due dates and everything are Canvas. I think it'll work out pretty well. Let's see, next, so we have readings, we'll have quizzes after each reading. The next thing that you'll be graded on are what I'm going to be calling folios. What these are is they're sort of essay papers that you're going to end up writing. So the way it'll work is at the beginning of each section. The section will last around 4 weeks. At the beginning of each section, I'll give you a set of study questions or folio questions, and I think I have it set up to where there's 6 folio questions. Each question deserves a response that's like around 500 words. If you type that out, it'd probably be about a page. If you wrote it out by hand, which I don't want you to do, but it would end up being about 2 pages. So around 500 words, right? And you'll have the questions from the beginning of the section, and at the very end of the section, what you'll have to do is go online and enter all 6 of your 1 typed page responses. Right, so you have plenty of time to work on them. You'll have a month to work on them, but you'll have to really work at kind of pacing yourself and making sure that you pull answers out and you're thoughtful about it and you present them. Again, take a look at the syllabus for exactly what I'm looking for on those folio responses, because I tried to give you some good ideas of things to look for there. And then lastly, the third thing that you'll be graded on is we'll have a discussion board. So what I'll do is take discussions or a discussion question for each section, and then I'll ask you to do 2 things. I'll want you to do 1 original response, and then 2, follow-up responses to other people's responses. So a total of 3 postings. So 1 original and then 2 responses. And then I'll grade those as I go through. And again, take a look at the syllabus. I think the folios end up being worth the most. The online, the reading quizzes, pretty straightforward. And then the smallest piece is going to be the discussion boards. Now, to make the class kind of interesting, because we're not doing lectures here. I'm not going to be doing a zillions of these things. What we're going to do is I'm going to tie in some movies to each section, right? So we'll read some philosophers, then we'll watch a couple of contemporary movies, and we'll try to make connections between what the philosophers are talking about and then what's going on in the movies. Indeed, originally I'd kind of thought maybe I'll end up doing it, calling the class Netflix and Phil, right, as in philosophy, see how it goes. So again, all that's listed on Canvas. You're welcome to access the movies in any way you want. I went the legal route, right? So I put a link to a YouTube version of the movie, but you'd have to rent it if you went that route. And I think that most of the rentals are around $3. A lot of the movies are on Netflix or on Amazon or Hulu or whatever you're using. Some of you have ways of getting access to very cheap or free movies. I'm going to let you guys figure that out. If you don't know how to do that, the easiest way to go is just to click on the YouTube version and pay the $3, and I think you're pretty good. Wouldn't be a bad idea since you have to watch the movies anyway. Watch them with a few friends, watch them with your family, do something like that. But again, the goal or the hope with the movies is to provide some context for that theoretical stuff that we're going to be looking at in the readings and some of the things that I'm going to be lecturing on, and making that connections with some of the things that you see going in the movies. That should make it kind of interesting. A couple of warnings before you get going on the class. The first is that the workload's high, right? There's a lot of stuff going on here. You're going to be doing a lot of writing. You're going to be doing a lot of reading. There's going to be a fair amount to do. And I think sometimes there's this misunderstanding that because a class is online or something, that it ends up being a lot less work. It ends up being, I think, quite a bit of work, and you have to be the kind of student who self-prompts to get that work kind of done on your time. The killer for this course is procrastination, right? This is absolutely not the sort of course that you can put things off for. In fact, when I make like reading quizzes and stuff, I specifically design them so that people who haven't done any of the reading, who just like open their book and try to take the quiz, shouldn't be able to pass that quiz, right? If you can, I didn't write a good quiz. So do the reading beforehand, right? Work on the stuff. Watch the movies. Take a look at things, and I think you should be fine. Likewise, for those folio questions, there's 6 of them. They're not due for a whole month. Again, you'll have the assignment at the beginning, but if you wait till the very end to try to pound those out in the like final Saturday that they're going to do, it ain't going to work, right? So beyond those things, I mean, time yourself. You're going to have to get 1 to 2 done a week. Right, so kind of beyond that, work on that. I think if I were doing it, if I were taking the course, I'd set it up where the first, right, a section's going to end up being about 4 weeks. I'd take those first couple of weeks in that section, do all my reading, really try to get those reading quizzes done, watch those movies, and then for the last 2 weeks in each section, I'd really focus in on trying to answer those folio questions. I'd probably try to do 3 per week, and that would get me to my 6, right? Also, since this is an online class, we're not going to have a whole lot of interactions. I'm going to try to post a few videos, and I'm going to even on occasion take videos of myself giving a lecture in front of a traditional classroom, mainly because I want to get that kind of feedback that sometimes other students give. I think you have a lot to gain from that. But you're not going to be able to talk back to me in many cases, right? This dialogue is not a dialogue. It's kind of a monologue on my part. So you're welcome to use the various online resources that are out there, right? So if, for example, you're reading something on Descartes, you're not quite sure what's going on, look some of that stuff up on the internet. There's a huge amount of resources there. Of course, avoid the stuff like Wikipedia and some of the stuff that's open source in favor of some of the stuff that's peer-reviewed, right? So like the Stanford Encyclopedia, great way to go. Sparks Notes, crappy way to go, right? Take a look for more reputable sources, and you can end up using those. Yeah, so we'll be talking from here, from time to time. But at this point, you should grab that book. You should start in on those readings. Again, be really cautious of the dates and things that are due. And just try to follow along, and I think you'll have a great time. I think it'll be a really interesting, engaging course, and I'm pretty excited about it. So nice to meet you. Talk to you soon.